And you said, we sacrifice the thing we want for the thing that's supposed to get it. So we sacrifice freedom for money in the hopes that the money will give us freedom.
Yeah.
Downstream from that, this is one of the best things that I learned for all of last year. And you created the framework and then I filled it in. So I talked about the tension between success and the desire to feel like we're enough. Mm-hmm. I think that this speaks to what you're on about here. Success is a strange thing. Presumably we want success because we think a more successful life will bring us more happiness, meaning and fulfillment. Here's the problem. We sacrifice the thing we want, happiness, for the thing which is supposed to get it, success. Yeah. Failure can make you miserable, but I'm not sure that success will make you happy. And if you end up with an equation, if you could imagine, like, we sacrifice happiness to achieve success in the pursuit of happiness, like if you just remove success from both sides of the equation, what are you left with? It's just happiness.
Equals
now,
happiness.
There are... we can't deny the fact that we're statesful beings, that we require external validation. We can't just, go and live in a cave and in peaceful bliss and all the rest of it. Like, there are things that we need to do, but I do feel like a lot of the time we overclock our lives with regards to success and the pursuits that we go through in an attempt to do this. And that we sacrifice the thing we want for the thing which is supposed to get it is like, I see that all the time. I always ask myself, am I overcomplicating this? Like, am I doing more than I need to do? Is there a simpler way to do this?
Mm-hmm. I think, I think this is actually a game theory thing. And you're familiar. Okay. So I can go on it or I can not if you want. Okay.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So, Simon Sinek popularized this, but you have finite and infinite games, right? Finite games where you have known players, agreed upon rules, and an outcome that wins the game, right? And then infinite game, you have known and unknown players, no rules, and the point of the game is to keep the game going. And what happens is that people apply finite rules to infinite games, and then they wonder why it's not working.
What's an example?
So a finite game would be like baseball. Know the players. At the end of the game, the person you tally up the ones with the most runs, and you win. And you can't hold the ball and run it around the bases. Like, there's rules of play. With an infinite game, the Vietnam War isn't a simple example that Simon Sinek gives, which is basically the U.S. lost the Vietnam War because they were applying a finite structure, which is we're going to win this war, and the Vietnamese people were playing an infinite game structure, which is we're going to stay alive and keep fighting. And as long as someone is staying alive and keeping fighting, they will beat the person who's trying to end something. And so the infinite frame always conquers the finite. And the thing is that most of the games worth playing are infinite. And so if you were trying to get in shape, you don't win getting in shape. The point is to stay in shape for the rest of your life. You don't win at marriage. The point is to stay married. You don't win at business. The point is to stay in business and keep doing business. So the point of the game is to keep playing. And I think and I would imagine success, if you put all of those things together, it's an infinite game. And so the point of success is to do the things that make you successful. And so if you're doing the things that are making you successful, then you are by definition winning. And I think that for me, redefining what is a perfect day and living as many of those days in a row as I possibly can, to me, that's winning. And I obviously have a relatively contrarian worldview, but which is that, like, when we die, nothing happens. And, we know what it was like to die because we've all been dead before, which is before we were alive. But I don't think that what I will do will ultimately matter in 500 million years. And so that kind of eliminates a lot of the pressure for me around, like, the external outcome. Sure, I'm human. There are definitely motivators. But if I can just over time chip away at how much that weighs on the scale, and I can keep putting more and more coins on the other side towards the infinite game of, like, the point of the game is to keep playing. And, like, there are some things that I remind myself over and over again. It's just like the point of the game is to keep playing. That's the point. That is the point, is to just keep playing.